Welcome to this video, to this tutorial. Today we are going to discuss about JavaScript syntax and basics. Okay, so we are discussing about JavaScript, and then we are looking at different components or principles of JavaScript. Now in this particular tutorial we are going to focus on three main things. We are going to focus on the variables, we are going to focus on the rules applied when creating the variables, and we are going to look at the operators, and finally we are going to have some exercises to help you understand better when you are talking about these three areas we are going to discuss today. Without wasting time, let's dive in and then see. The first thing we want to look at is what you call the variable. So when you talk about a variable, basically a variable is a small portion of computer memory that is set aside to hold program data. So you cannot be able to have a program without variables. So it is mainly used to help us to store those values, or to store those information or data that you are going to use when you are doing the program, you are executing your program. So they are very important in each and every programming language. You can never talk of any programming language without talking about variables. So it's everything in terms of storage of data, in terms of accessing data. Variables is everything. Now variables in JavaScript, they come in three forms. One, we use the keyword called var. So with the keyword var is followed by the space and then the name of the variable. Now at the end there you are supposed to put the semicolons. So here we have an example of a variable. So we have var, then we are declaring a variable called interest rate. So at the end of the interest rate, you can see we have a semicolon. Yeah, we have a semicolon at the end here. Now supposing I have this particular variable and then I want to assign a value. Basically, in order for you to assign a value to this particular variable called interest rate, you are supposed to use an equal sign. So an equal sign followed by that value, you are saying that I'm assigning 0.03 to the variable called interest rate. So that's it. Yeah. Now here we have got another example that you are prompting the user. Now for example, you don't have the input. Maybe you want the user to give you the input. So in this case you are going to use the word prompt. So with the prompt you are telling the user, can you give me your name? So according to this particular part, they are saying that tell us your first name, and then after that you are going to have the alert section, which is going to give us the output in the browser. Now the second part here, we talk about let. With let is also another type of variable declaration, but the only difference between variable var and let is that with let is a block scoped. Let is block scoped, and this is to say that variable with var it is global scoped. With global scoped, it means that it can be used anywhere within the program, but with let it is going to be used within a certain block. So its lifetime is dependent on a block, but with this one its lifetime it is going to be used anywhere within the program. Now looking at that, we go to this particular part, and then you can see this is an example of let implementation. So to say that let greetings is equal to say hi, then we say let times is equal to 4, and then we say if times is greater than 3. If times is greater than 3, yeah, if times is greater than 3, say let hello is equal to say hello. Yeah, instead then console, and then console log, you say hello. Yeah, so this is the output that is going to be given after you run this. Now if for instance I want to access hello variable outside this if block, you can see that is going to give you hello is not defined. Why is it so? Because hello has the hello variable that you have declared within the if block, it is only going to be used within this block and not outside. So it is clearly displayed in this particular case. Now when you go to const basically it is a keyword that is used to maintain constant values. So if you are going to use a constant value, you are supposed to use const. Then it cannot be updated or redeclared. So this is just to say every time you talk about const, you mean that the value that does not change during program execution. Now this is to say that, for example, I've created a constant called greetings. So I'm saying say hi, and then down here I'm also coming to declare again, I'm going to assign another value. So by default this particular part is going to give me an error because this is a constant. By looking at this const, it means that this is a value that is not supposed to change throughout the program execution. Now there are some rules that you need to know in every time you want to go to declare to come up with variables. The first rule that you need to know is that a variable is supposed to start with a letter or an underscore. Yeah. Then you say that the rest of the variable can either be a letter, the rest can be number, and the rest can be an underscore. And then the rest of the JavaScript variable names are case sensitive. This is to say that if I write interest rate like this, and then I write the interest rate like this, these are two different things. What makes the difference between the two is that the first character in this particular first variable is a capital I, and the second one is a small I. So this is a very big difference. It is going to be treated as two different variables. Now there's no limit when you are going to declare the variable name, and then make sure that you do not use the JavaScript keywords every time you are coming up with a new variable. For example, the keywords are like var, alert, prompt, let. Those are keywords that are used in JavaScript. Now data types, when you talk about data types in JavaScript, basically these are the forms in which data is going to be represented in a program, in a JavaScript program. Which form is the data that is going to be used in your program? Now there are two types of JavaScript data types. Okay, we have what we call the primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Now going down here, we have got a table that is going to display to us the difference between the two. We have got the string this side, we have the number, we have the boolean, we have undefined, the null, and then we have the symbol. Here we have got the object. What is the difference between primitive and non-primitive? Is that with the primitive, it is used to hold a single value, but non-primitive is allowed to hold a collection of values. That's the one difference between the two. Yeah. Now in this particular case, we are just going to give examples. The first one is string. When you talk about string, basically you mean a group of characters. Yeah. So in this particular case, we have an example of a string. So when you talk about a string, this is a string. Most of the time you realize that a string value is supposed to be inserted inside the quotations. So there is that single quotation or double quotation around it. Yeah, so by doing that, you mean that this is a string. Then the number is a numeric value, so you say that it's either a positive, a float, or a negative value. So you can see the examples are here to show you that. Then you have undefined. When you talk about undefined, it means that the variable that has been declared but not assigned a value. So like this is a undefined. Why? Because it has not been assigned a value. Now if I assign a value like null, it means that I don't need it is going to pick no value. So I say that var x is equal to null, it means that it's going to have no value in that particular case. Now going further, we are going to talk about non-primitive data type. When we talk about non-primitive data types, this is just to say that this is a value, this is a data type that stores more than one value. So as shown in this particular case, var student is be able to hold first name, then John, and then you say class is 7, like that. Then we say basic operators in JavaScript. Now operators are very important because operators are mainly used to help us to concatenate or to be able to combine different operands. So when you talk about operand, basically you mean these are the inputs that you're going to use in your JavaScript. Now in this particular case, now under basic operators we have things like plus, addition, increment, subtraction, negation, decrement, multiplication, division, and modulus. So you can see the examples are here. For example, we are talking about 10 plus 4 is 14, 10 plus plus is giving us 11. So when you talk about increment, you add by 1. You talk about decrement, is going to decrease by 1, like that. Then we have the modulus and the division. I want to explain these two. When you talk about modulus gives you the quotient. You take the quotient 2.5. So you take 10 divided by 4. It's going to give us 2.5. But when you talk about modulus, you are interested with the remainder. So 4 goes to 10 2 times, and then it leaves a remainder of 2. So that is what that's the difference between the two values there. Going further, we go into string. And in the string section, basically when we talk about a string, we have already explained that string is made up of multiple characters. And in this case, in order for you to bring together multiple strings, you use concatenation operator. So a concatenation operator is a plus sign. So it is the one that enable you now to concatenate, to be able to bring together multiple string expressions. Now in this case we have an example here. We're saying that var pre tip total is 10, and then we are saying that var tip amount is equal to pre-tip total times 0.15. so this is another string, and then we want to combine all these strings to one string. So by doing this, you can see we have message 1 plus tip amount plus message 2 plus pre-tip total plus tip amount. So together all these are strings, and then we want to combine them, all of them in this particular case, and then be able to give us an alert. So these are string, this is a string, this is a string, and then you can be able to combine this together. So you need to know how to use the concatenation operator, and that is the plus sign, to be able to put all these together. Okay, now maybe just to correct something there, to say that this is a message 1 is a string, because it is starting with the double quotation and then it is closing with the double quotation here, and then double quotation here. Then we have got message 2 also is a string, and you can see it is here. So you can see here when you go to alert, you are combining the numbers, and also you are combining with the message. So that is how you are going to be able to do that, by using the concatenation operator, a plus sign. Yeah. Then we go to the next one. We talk about comparison operator. A comparison operator basically is the one that is used to compare values. So you say, and basically the output is either to be true or false. So it has only two output. It only have false or true. Yeah. So when you talk about equal, it means double equal sign. Talk of this is going to not. Now these are the ones that we have been looking. These are just basic, but there's something that I want to point out between identity and equal. So there is a difference between these two operators. Now the first one, when you go to identity operator, is to say that you match the data types and the values. With identity you match the data types with the values, but with the equal you just match the values. So that's the difference between those two. There is now, for example, here in this particular case, you say 10, and then you can just, let me just write something here. You just say 10 is equal to this 10. Yeah. Now in this particular case, it's going to give me a true. Why? Because with this operator, it is only interested with the value. It's just going to check 10 here, and then here is 10, and then it gives me a true. But if I use an identity operator, it is going to give me a false. Why is it? Because 10 is not equal to this 10. Why? Because this other 10, it is a string. It is not a number. This is a number, but this is a string. So when you have got that kind of difference between the two in terms of data type, then you are not going to get it. You are not going to get that particular one as true. Yeah. Then this one is just the negation, just to say that if this 10 into quotes is not equal to this 10, which is the number, then it's going to give us a true, because that is exactly the truth in this particular case. Now talking of the logical operators, when we talk about the logical expressions, we have got three. We have got the AND, the OR, and the NOT. So when you compare, or you just want to check the comparison and the return values, you say that true if both expression 1 and expression 2 are true, otherwise false. So if you have a false and a true, that is false. If you have a true and a false, that is false. If you have false and false, then that is going to be false. But it can only be true if both expressions are true. Now if you go to OR, is to say that true if one or both are true. It is true if one or both of the expressions are true. So that is exactly what is there. And then you have the last one, NOT, whereby it changes. If it is true, it's going to be false, and if it's false, it's going to be true. So that is just simple to explain in that particular case. Another one that stands out is ternary operator. A ternary operator is written, this is the syntax for a ternary operator, and it is a shorthand operator. If you master this, it can really help you to write simple, but it can save you many lines of code. Now in this particular case is just to say that we have got a variable called screen width, which is 768, and then we have a max portal width, which is 1024. Now in this particular case we have a variable called screen type, which is going to store the result of this expression. So this is the expression, this is our expression. So this screen type is supposed to store the result. Now the result in this case is either desktop or portable. Those are the results. Now it's going to check to say that 768 is greater than max portal width, which is 1024. 768 is greater than 1024. Is that true or false? It is false. So it means that it is going to give us portable, because result if false, result if false is portable now. But if, for example, this particular one was higher, for example it is 1768 is greater than that, it's going to give us a desktop. I hope that is well understood. So this one is to say that it's going to first to check the condition. This is the condition or an expression. If that expression is going to be true, then it's going to display, it is going to output the first one. If that expression is false, it's going to give us the second output. Yeah, so those are some of the areas that are also another expression that you should also be able to know. Now the last thing that I want to show you is the how to be able to add the comments in your program. Now the program in JavaScript, we have got two ways to add the comments. We have the single line comment, and then you have multiple line comment. Now double forward slash like this is what you call that is what you call single line comment. And then when you have this, it is going to give us the multiple line comments. Yeah, so you can see with the examples are here. Now we have got the order of precedence, or the order of precedence for all these JavaScript operators. You can see this is a table here with all those operators we have been talking about, talking of increment, talking of decrement, and the order of precedence. So you can see all these are first priority. Have been given first priority every time the program is going to be executed. So we have the increment, the decrement, the negation, and the not. These are going to be given first priority, followed by the second one, multiplication, division, and modulus. Then the next one is addition and subtraction, and then we have concatenation, which is a plus sign. A concatenation also is supposed to be treated in the third place. And then we have the fourth, where we have got to. So this is just like a table, okay? And if you follow this order of precedence, then you can be able to get the right result in any calculations that you're going to do in this particular case. Yeah. Now to test if you have been able to maybe to capture that part correctly, we have got an exercise here, and we're going to try it here, this exercise. Now the first part of this exercise is to say that create variable to store your name, age, and a boolean value. Yeah, so this is basically trying to test if you know how to declare a variable. So basically, to declare a variable, just say let name equal John. Yeah, just say let name equal John, and then you can just say let age equal 25, and then you can say a boolean value. You can just say let is best, like that, and then you can say true. Yeah, by doing that, we have been able to declare three different data types. We have got the string, we have got the number, and then we have got the boolean. So a boolean always will be distinguished using the true or false in this particular case. And now we move to the next exercise. They are saying that perform basic arithmetic operations and print the results. So this to say that maybe I can say let a is equal to 10 or 20. Let me say let a is equal to 20, and then you can say let b is equal to 15. That is the thing. Yeah, now the first thing that I want to do is to to calculate the sum. So I'm going to say let sum is equal to a plus b. Yeah, a plus b. Let sum is equal to a plus b, and then you have the semicolon, and then you can just say console. I want to display it in the console window of the browser, so I'm going to say addition. Then you just put a plus sign there. You just say addition. Maybe you can just say full colon, and then you can just say plus. Then you can say sum. Yeah, let me just do maybe 3 or 2. You can just copy this, and then I can say copy, and then I can paste it here, and then I can say this one also. We are going to have sum. Now it's going to be sub for subtraction. Then you're going to say a minus b, and then you're going to say subtraction, and then you can just say there sub, like that. Okay, so we can just get the last one. Maybe you can talk of product, and just say product, let product, like that. Then you say a times b, and then you can just say console.log, and then you just say subtraction, product. Then you put that, and then you just say plus pro. Yeah, so like that. Then you go to the next question. Maybe before we run everything, we can just go to the last part, whereby we are going to say that write a script that uses comparison operators to compare a number. So that's very simple. You just create let x is equal to 20, and then you can just say let y is equal to 15, like that. Then we say the first one, let can just say that can just say console. Let's just say console dot log, and then you can just say x is not, let's use the first one, x is not equal to y, like that. So that's the first statement. The second one, we want to test about the things we have been talking about, equal and identity. So I want to compare these two. We're going to say that let console.log, and then you just say that x is not identity. We just apply the identity operator there, and then we just say that, like that. So this is a string, and the other one is a number. So we are going to check if it's going to give us a true or a false. Then next we talk of the console.log, the same expression, but now using the equal operator. So we are going to say 20 or x, and then you put that 20, like that. So we want to check if it is going to give us the same output or different output. Finally, we just say console.log, and then we just say equal sign that. Then we put that. So we just say x is not equal to y, not identity to y, like that. Good. Now if you run these codes that you have just written here, it is going to give us the true picture of what you have been talking about. It's going to give us the true picture of what you have been talking about, a true picture of what we have been talking about here. Okay, so in this particular case, you're just going to run this. So let me go to my JavaScript part, and then run this JavaScript code. Now you go to inspect, and then you go to console. So if you go to console, you can see the outputs are there. So we started with the first one, the addition is here. You go to subtraction is here. You go to multiplication, the product 300 is there. You go to the first one, whereby I'm really much interested in this part, whereby it's giving us this the first part of this particular logical the comparison operator, saying that x is not equal to y, and of which is giving us a true. Yeah. Now the second part is saying that x is identical to the string of 20. So 20, the number, is identical to 20, the string. So it is giving us a false, and I've already explained that in just a few minutes ago, just to tell you that when you talk about data type, when you talk about identity, it compares both the data type and the value. Now going to this particular, the second one, when you talk about the equal sign, the equal operator, an equal operator is going to give us a true. So it is not interested with the data type, it is interested with the value. Yeah, I think that is well understood. Then we got the last one, whereby we are just saying that 20 is non-identical to 15, of which that is very true. So you can see it has been able to execute all these statements correctly. Okay, so that's how you can be able to implement different operators. The logical operators are also there. We have got you have talked about the comparison operators, you have talked about the arithmetic operators, you have talked about how to declare variables, the use of let, the var, and the const. All these parts are very important for you to build your knowledge in JavaScript. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Kindly support me by clicking on the subscribe button, and also you can turn the notification button on, so that when I create the next video, you will be informed. Thank you so much. Bye bye.